So men are designed to be hunters. Women were designed to be gatherers. And this sounds really primitive, but if we go way back to how we were created, each one has a special skill set. Okay, so hunters, their special skill set is single focus. So they do one thing at a time, very different than the gatherer. Women don't choose to multitask. We can't help it. Okay, doing one thing at a time is unimaginable to us. Diffuse awareness is the very reason why a woman can literally make dinner, talk on the phone, and breastfeed a baby all at the same time. Men could never do that, okay? They could never do that, but we can get a lot of things accomplished. We might be scattered doing it, but we can get a lot of things accomplished.
Welcome back to the Daniele Hage podcast. I'm your co-host, Danielle Hage, daughter-in-law to Daniele. She's Nini to my 3 girls, but Daniele and her husband, Steve, have been married for over 42 years. Together, they pastor a church in Laguna Niguel, California, and Daniele has been studying relationships and talking about relationships for over 25 years and has a wealth of knowledge. So today, we are going to be talking about hunters and gatherers and really what that means in today's context in relationships between men and women. But you're going to start us off with something fun.
Yeah, because I wanted to know if you've ever heard of the brand new shopping center, the Perfect Shopping Center that just opened up. Have you heard about that?
No, let's go.
Okay, let me tell you what that is. So they opened up this perfect husband shopping center where women could go and choose a perfect husband. So it's laid out on 5 floors with the men increasing in positive attributes as you ascend the floors. The only rule was that once you open the door to any floor, you must choose a man from that floor. And if you go up a floor, you can't go back down except to leave the store. So a couple of girlfriends go to the store to find a man to marry. The first floor sign reads, "These men have high-paying jobs and love kids." The women read the sign and they say, "Well, that's wonderful, but I wonder what's on the next floor." Mm-hmm. The second floor sign reads, "These men have high-paying jobs, love kids, and are extremely good-looking." Say the girls. It seems to be getting better. I wonder what's further up. Let's go to the third floor. The third floor sign reads, "These men have high-paying jobs, love kids, and are extremely good-looking and will help with the housework." Wow, say the women. Very tempting, but there's still more floors. Let's keep going. The fourth floor sign reads, "These men have high-paying jobs, love kids, and are extremely good-looking, will help with the housework, and are great in bed." Oh my gosh. Just think. What must be awaiting us on the next floor? We got to keep going. So they go to the 5th floor. This sign reads, "This floor is just to prove that women are impossible to please."
Sounds about right.
Right? And why do you think that is? Why do you think? Is that true? Are women impossible to please?
Danielle, what do you think? What do you think? Are we impossible to please?
Well, I just think that maybe women have become too dependent and too attached to men. And maybe they're putting men in the place that God should be in their lives, expecting their men to be these superheroes, this God that they are not. I mean, men are flawed, imperfect, fallible human beings, just like us.
Right.
So why do we have these big expectations? Why do we put this pressure? And if you think about it, I read a statistic that said out of all the people that get divorced, 3/4 of the divorces are filed from women. Women are filing for divorce. Yeah, way more than men are. Men want to be married.
Right.
But women, because their man isn't perfect and things aren't perfect, it's always usually the woman that is upset about something.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think maybe we need to let go of some of our attachments toward men and put it in the right spot, which we should be attached and dependent on God more than a man and quit treating men like God in our lives.
I feel like growing up, I don't know if it's my generation or if generations previous to this had this set of expectations put on us, but also just talking about like, hold your expectations really high and the bar is raised and
don't settle.
Yes, don't settle. And there really is no room for the grace.
Mhm.
And, I think we grew up taking also an innate pride in if I have the best and it has to look perfect. So we have this society now that you have a polished look
Yeah.
and Instagram highlight reels is your
Yeah.
life and that's what you put
Mhm.
out there and you want everything to look perfect. And then when it's not behind the scenes, that's
Yeah.
where some breakdown
Yeah.
happens.
You get
So
disgruntled or there must be something better out there
yeah, and the
for me,
grass is always
something
greener on
more.
the other side.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we are constantly seeing, oh, what's over there? What's
Right.
over there?
Or we
Wait,
compare.
their house is better
Right.
or their marriage is
We
better
compare our
or
relationships, we compare our
mhm.
kids, we compare our income
Oh, and
with,
become competitive in
and
everything.
that is never a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
even the Bible says it's just stupid to compare. Because when
Yeah.
you compare to other people, you're either comparing up where you're thinking they have so much more. And then we get, then envy gets in there and jealousy, and I want what they have. Or we feel yucky about ourselves, or we compare down where we're like, well, at least I'm doing better than them. And then you get prideful. And so either way
Mhm.
you lose. Comparison
Yeah.
is not good in any
Right.
way that you look at it.
Right.
And I just think, we have to remember for men and women, there's just so many areas where we are in conflict and we're not on the
Mhm.
same page.
Right.
And we forget that we are just so completely different
Right.
from one
Because it's a
another.
part of our DNA. I mean, we're not meant to be the same person
Right.
and communicate
Right.
the same way. We have two different values or two different ways we
Right.
communicate.
Yeah. And I think if men can understand what makes a woman tick, how she thinks, and if
Mhm.
women can understand, what makes a man tick and what brings the best out of him, what brings the worst out
Yeah.
of him, we're going to be a whole lot better off. And we have to remember, we're not just different in the general region below the belt. We are different
Mhm.
in every single way,
Yeah.
in how we think, how we act, how we
Yeah.
feel, how we relate to our feelings, how we
Mhm.
relate to time,
Yeah.
what motivates us. I mean, we're just so completely opposite
Yeah.
of one another.
Which again, in today's society, we're put on this equal playing field.
Yeah, we're all the same.
Yes, the
And we are
equality
not.
movements that have
Mhm.
happened in the last few decades. And, not saying that good things haven't come from those
Right.
and the pay and all of that, but women have been put on the same playing field
Right.
as
Right.
men. And it wasn't until I met Christian and met you that you started talking about that design of men and women, the
Yeah.
hunters and the gatherers. And that has been such a rich piece of what I've learned from
Hmm.
you. And I want you to talk a little bit about it
Okay.
because it's also been something I've been able to talk to my girlfriends about and understand a little bit more how we relate to
Yeah.
men and how we relate to others as women and why community is so valuable, especially for us as moms with young
Right.
children, raising kids whose husbands are in that middle princehood, like we talked
Right.
about a few episodes ago, and who are out working to provide and to protect, which is the hunter. So,
Right.
can you talk a
Right.
little bit about that?
Okay, so men are designed to be hunters, women were designed to be gatherers, and this sounds really primitive, but if we go way
Mhm.
back to how we were created, each one has a special skill set. Okay, so hunters, their special skill set is single focus. So they do one thing at a time, very
Yeah.
different than the gatherer. Okay, when hunters don't do things meanwhile, they do one thing at a time. When they finish that, they do the next thing. What they're focused on is the end result.
Yeah.
What is the end result? What will this provide
Yeah.
once I do this? So when I say, men don't do things meanwhile, it's kind of like this. I have a good example. My son-in-law, from the time he was 10 years old, he wanted to be a fireman when he grew up.
Mhm.
And so when he went to college and he was doing all the things working toward getting hired as a firefighter. And so then he meets my daughter and they fall in love and he wants to get married, but he's not hired yet. And he's like, I can't propose until I get my job as a firefighter.
Yeah.
And he'd go to interviews and do one thing after another, and he just could not get in. And so his dad had a very prosperous company. And his dad said, well, you can work for me,
Yeah.
and you're going to make way more money than you ever would make being a firefighter.
Right.
And people around him were like saying, yeah, Nima, go work
Makes
for your
more
dad.
sense.
Take
Yeah. Yeah.
that job, and then you can get engaged and get married. And he kept saying, no, I can't, because if I do that, I'll get used to the money and I'll never realize my dream.
Wow.
And my dream is to be a firefighter, which at the time people were like, oh, that's dumb. You're going to make money. But it's not about making money. For a
Yeah.
man, it's about living your dream and your purpose.
Yeah.
And so he held out, he waited. And I thought that was so smart of him because he was focused on the end result, getting hired. He knew he could make money in the interim, but he didn't want to get used to it. So he waited. So he didn't get married right away, which he wanted to. But I just thought that is a hunter. Like he knew what he wanted to do, and he didn't short circuit himself.
Right.
And my daughter, his wife, had to be patient and wait until he got to that place. And so then it all happened, and he got hired, but he didn't do anything meanwhile. All right. So the hunter will actually calculate the time and energy that it takes to do something. Okay. If it's not worth the time and energy that it takes, it's not important to him. He's not going to do it. It's not worth it. So if he's focused on getting out the door to go to work, and he ate breakfast, so he didn't load his dish because that's not important because I got to go. But women will look at that and go, well, what? I have to pick up after you? Why can't you help? Why can't you take care of yourself and load your own dish? And then, of course, they don't load it right because we have a certain way that you have to load the dishwasher because they don't do things the way a woman would do it. So we get in conflict a lot of times about those kinds of things. But if you understand that, okay, as a man, he is focused on going out and hunting the paycheck. They don't hunt deer anymore to, make a living, but he's going out to be able to provide, to work for you, for the family. So if you as a woman can look at it, okay, this is how he is compelled to get to the end result.
Right.
It's not personal to me. He's not trying to not help me.
Right.
He's trying to provide for me.
And he's not thinking about you.
Right.
But he's literally not thinking about all the things you're thinking about. I've had to come to terms with that. I mean, we still, on Sundays, I'm like, I'm getting 3 hairstyles done for church, including my own. I'm showering all the kids. I'm getting them dressed. I'm getting their shoes tied and everybody out the door, and then I'm like, you have to get yourself ready.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
And I'll say it. And he's like, yes.
Yeah.
I have to get myself ready and in the car so I can drive you guys.
Yeah.
To where we're going to go.
I remember Steve and I had that
and
exact
he's not
same thing.
About all the things I have to do.
I get everybody ready, fed, out the door, and you've gotten yourself ready.
The dish is loaded.
And that's it. Yeah. It's like, because he's single focus on getting out the door. And we women, okay, our special skill set is called diffuse awareness, which allows us to pour out in every different directions at all at the same time, staying connected to our environment.
Right.
So this is the thing that compels us in our brain to multitask.
Right.
You
keep the plate spinning.
Yes.
Yes.
And men will look at a woman and say, "You're so scattered. Oh my gosh, you're always in a hurry." And it's because we're doing 8 different things at one time.
Right.
And men can't do that. Like even just last night, we're having dinner at your house, and I fly in and I sit down at the counter. Christian picks me up and he starts cooking. And I say, "Christian, can you look at my computer?" He goes, "Mom, I am in the middle of cooking. They have people coming over." He goes, "I am focused on this. I can't do anything else." I said, "You're right. Yeah. Absolutely." Yeah. So then Danielle comes in the kitchen and she starts, getting things prepared. And I go, "Danielle, can you look at this real quick?" She goes, "Sure." She comes over and she's doing this and looking at my thing, but she's a multitasker. Yeah. She can do more than just one thing at a time.
Hearing the kids, knowing what's going on upstairs. Right. I can tell who's getting ready and who's not.
Exactly. You've got your head.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, ladies. This is the really cool thing about a man being single focused, because that could bother you. You think, well, why, right. Who's it? Like a man will say to a woman, "Just do one thing at a time. You're so scattered." And we're thinking, you don't understand. If I only do one thing at a time and you do one thing at a time, nothing is.
We're not all going to get in the car on time with our hair brushed.
That's right.
Yeah.
But here's the great thing about single focus. So when it comes to the bedroom, women, we kind of judge our bodies pretty harshly. And so because we think that men do also. Yeah. And so we'll a lot of times want to cover places that we're not proud of. And especially when it's time to have sex with our husbands. And a lot of times women will start to point out their flaws. Like, I'm going to point it out before you do.
Yeah.
Do you have cellulite here, or you're a few pounds overweight? Men don't even see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because of his single focus, when it's time to go to bed, he is focused on getting into bed and getting into your body. He doesn't notice all the things that are wrong. But women, we notice everything that's wrong.
Right.
Okay. Don't ever point your flaws out to a man. Don't bring his attention to it. Because that's going to be a turnoff if you do. He doesn't even see it.
Well, it takes his focus off of. He was focused on
your naked, beautiful
and now
body.
You focused him on the flaw.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
You can't be focused on both at the same time.
Exactly. And men, they don't do two things at once. So they're never noticing your flaws and wanting to have sex with you at the same time. They're never going to watch TV and ignore you at the same time. Men are never ignoring you because that would be doing two things at once. So when he's watching TV and you're trying to get his attention, most women would think, you stop ignoring me. He's not ignoring you. He just find out, if you want to know what's going on in your man's head, find out where his focus is. What is he focused on? And that way you can have a general idea that it's not that he's upset with you, mad at you, or ignoring you, or not paying attention to you. Okay. It's just that his focus is elsewhere. That's as simple.
Yeah.
Women don't choose to multitask. We can't help it. Okay. Doing one thing at a time is unimaginable to us. Diffuse awareness is the very reason why a woman can literally make dinner, talk on the phone, and breastfeed a baby all at the same time.
Yeah.
Men could never do that. Okay. They could never do that. But we can get a lot of things accomplished. We might be scattered doing it, but we can get a lot of things accomplished. So one of the questions that men a lot of times will ask, well, why does it take her so long to get to the bedroom? It's because of her environment. See, women hear voices and her environment speaks to her. So she is busy, holding down the fort, tying up all the loose ends before she can come to bed. She's got to get the homework done, the dishes clean, the house in order, get herself in order before she can get to the bedroom. So guys, if you want her to get her there quicker, then you need to come up to her and ask her what you can do to help her.
Yeah, because we always have a list.
Always.
There's always a list.
And if you ask her, what can I do to help you? You just won the Heroes Award. And she's going to be like, oh my God, you're sensitive to my needs. You care about me. You can see that I'm just so busy. So how about this? You put the kids to bed. I'll finish up the dishes. I'll meet you in the bedroom in 10 minutes or whatever. And you just, you strike a deal. And then also men, a physical touch for a woman is the loudest voice in her head, in her environment. So sometimes women need to be rescued from multitasking.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just coming up and touching her elbow or the small of her back and saying, honey, it's time to make our way upstairs.
Yeah.
That will remind her, okay, you can't finish everything, but now we're going to go to bed.
Yeah.
And you just touch her.
And giving her the the permission, like put those voices. And when you say voices, because we haven't talked about this before, so our listeners might not know exactly what voices you're talking about. You're literally talking about the dishes
talking to you
are talking to us. The laundry is talking to us. The couch that the pillows need to be fluffed and the blankets need to be folded talk to us.
Exactly.
Everything talks to us. And we see it every time we walk into a room. We see, okay, I see the dishwasher's done. I need to unload.
Right.
I see the front room needs to be wiped down. I see that smudge on the floor.
Right. Yeah. The voices aren't in your head.
Yeah.
The voices are in the environment.
Yeah. It's not this comparison. It's literally all the things we need to do that are on our list.
Right. And if men understand that about women, just understanding that, they can go, oh, okay, I can see that the voices are screaming at her. I need to help her silence the voices. And if you want to bring the best out of a woman and get the best out of her, especially when it comes to evening time and love making and all that kind of stuff, right?
We are so different. We hear voices. Men don't necessarily hear the voices.
Right.
They're single focused. How can we as women also help ourselves? Are we efficient having diffuse awareness and being multitaskers? Right. And how do we give ourselves permission to join our husband on the couch to watch a show? That's something that Christian talks about all the time. Like, why can't you just come sit next to me on the couch?
Yeah.
I don't even want anything. Just come sit next to me. Just be next to me. Let's watch the show. I'm thinking, I've got this to research. I've got this to look up. I have to sign so-and-so up for T-ball coming up. And there's still dishes to do.
Right.
I don't want to just sit on the couch because I've got things I can do.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I think, eventually we have to get to the place where, okay, my husband has needs too. And if you can be a team and work as a team and get the the most important stuff out of the way so that you can relax, because
Yeah.
women need to be able to zone out
Yeah.
and have that time too. And so I think it's just a part of saying, okay, I'm going to give myself permission to be done now, even
Yeah,
though not
that's good.
everything is done.
Yeah.
It is okay for me
Yeah.
to just enjoy some time sitting on the
Mhm.
couch next to my husband,
Yeah.
watching a movie.
Yeah.
And so I think we just
Yeah.
have to get to that place where not everything's going to be perfect all the
Yeah.
time around the house.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And then how do we have that communication with our husbands? Like, I want you to give the example of Steve, your husband, walking over the laundry basket,
Okay.
and not seeing the laundry basket.
So for a single focused man, again, picking up a dirty sock and putting it in the laundry basket on his way from the living room to the bedroom is not something that he even sees, because men are always on a hunt. Okay. Going from one location to the next is a hunt. So women will say, wow, you walked right over that pile of clothes. You couldn't put that away for me. Wow. You won't even help me. You're so lazy. We get critical, right? Well, he never saw it because of his focus. So one time I had this great big hamper that is the width of my staircase, and it's heavy and it's full of clean clothes from the laundry room. And I'm in my office and I know my husband is in the kitchen and I can see the stairway, and we women love to leave hints and clues that, by the way, men don't pick up on because men are very literal. And so I put the basket there thinking, oh, he'll for sure take it upstairs. He can't possibly not see it. He can't walk around it. He literally would have to climb over it to get upstairs.
Right.
So I'm doing my work, and a little bit later I notice he's upstairs and the laundry basket is still sitting on the stairway. And I go, Steve. And he comes over the balcony and he goes, what? I go, really? You couldn't take the laundry basket upstairs on your way? He goes,
I didn't see it.
Oh, all you had to do is ask. Like, he didn't even notice
Yeah.
it because it wasn't within his focus. His focus was getting upstairs for whatever reason. And men, again, they're literal. All you had to do was ask.
Yeah.
I go, oh. But see, we like to leave clues. Why do we not want to ask?
Right.
We just want them to know.
Right.
But they
If I
don't
see it,
think the
and
way
it's
we
important
think.
to me, why wouldn't you see it?
Right.
think?
And women have this thing, if what's important to me
Yeah.
isn't important to you,
Mhm.
something's wrong with you.
Right.
You weren't raised right.
Yeah.
You need counseling. Okay. So that's something I heard one woman say, that they call that COU disease, center of the universe disease, where it makes us take everything personal, especially when it comes to men.
Yeah.
And if what's important to me isn't important to you, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
You need to see
Yeah.
it my way.
Well, and doesn't that even help our, go into our communication style? Like, we communicate to reveal.
Right.
We communicate to bring up stuff, to
Right.
have these conversations, to reveal all the things.
Right.
And men's communication style is different, where it
They
is more of a hunter.
Yes, and they want to conceal.
conceal.
So we want to open up and talk about everything. Men have a way where they're only going to talk about the next important thing.
Yeah.
I get so detailed. Women are so verbal and detailed, which a lot of times drives men crazy.
Yeah.
Men will say, oh my gosh, if I ask about her day, she'll just go on and on and on. And I always tell men, you can give women a deadline. You can
Yeah.
say, okay, I'm good for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And after 10 minutes, I've got to zone out.
Mhm.
And I always tell women, get to the point. When
Yeah.
you're talking to men, when you're giving them the report of your day,
Yeah.
give them the bullet points. And then if
Right.
they want more
Right.
detail, they'll ask.
Well, it's part of being the gatherer. I loved how you have talked about that too. Like, we're gathering things throughout the day. We're gathering things in our basket because our design is to be the gatherer. And it takes us a while to sort
Right.
through and give all the details of, so-and-so did this in school today, and so-and-so did this in her activities, and
Yeah.
and I did this, and I felt like this, and I had this conversation. And so we're sorting through
Right.
what we've gathered through
Right.
the day. But if we can just start with the bottom line,
Right.
or one thing I've done with Christian is said, hey, I just need to process. Especially when we were in seasons where we worked together or closely together. I just need to process this. I want to get your perspective, but I need to talk it out loud so I can
Right.
hear
myself say it. Yeah.
myself. Yeah. And I don't need you to problem solve it right now. There's a plan, or I'm thinking of a plan, or I'm not ready for a plan yet, but I don't need you to problem solve it right now, because that's what he'll do too.
Right.
He'll jump in and he'll be like, oh, that's easy. All you got to do is do da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wasn't asking for that.
Yeah.
And I felt shut down
Right.
because I'm trying to process, and you just
Right.
threw it back at me.
Yeah. And that really goes back to how men listen to women, which they usually listen in two ways, and both ways will get them in trouble with women. Men listen for the point, which women rarely have a point because they're processing
Yeah.
or they don't know what the point is until they get to it.
Yeah.
And then men, if the woman is upset, they'll listen for the problem. And men are natural problem solvers, which is awesome.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But when they want to solve your problem and you just need to process, they'll interrupt and say, well, all you have to do is, and then it's like, I always tell men, when you're listening to a woman, get a visual that you're holding a bucket and she's just regurgitating about her day. She's giving you all the stuff about her day, getting it out because she's so full. Because women, we have these internal baskets. We don't go out necessarily and collect berries in our baskets anymore, they did back in the day, but we're collecting details and ideas and thoughts and stuff mentally in our basket. Yeah. And so it gets full and we can't breathe, so we got to get it out. And it's a great idea to get those details out with a friend, a girlfriend, your mom, because they get it. But for a man, it's like, I don't need to hear all that over and over again. Right. So a man will say to a woman, so when he interrupts her to solve her problem, it's like he just threw that bucket of barf back in her face and it's suffocating to her. And then she'll just give up. She'll feel, you don't hear me, you don't understand me.
Right.
And
you don't care.
When a woman doesn't feel heard or seen or understood or cared about, then she's going to shut down. She won't feel safe. Yeah. And if you want to get the best out of a woman, men, they need to feel safe because when she feels heard, she feels safe. When she feels safe, she feels connected. When she feels connected, she'll make herself vulnerable. She'll become uninhibited in the bedroom and she'll be able to meet your needs even better.
All right. So, layers on layers on layers on layers.
Yes,
okay. So today we've talked about hunters and gatherers.
Single focus, multitasking, listening to women.
Yeah.
What else did we
talk
talk about?
Silence the voices to get the best out of them, to be able to communicate.
Being her partner and teammate, helping her to silence those voices so that you can get the best out of her in the bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of tools that you've given us today of how to have better communication, better understanding, and refocus our expectations. Yeah. Men are men. Women are women by design.
We're opposite.
But we fit together beautifully.
Yes.
But our expectations need to be filled by God, understand our design, and work together to better communicate, to have a better relationship.
And just one last thing. Remember, girls, that men are not designed to be your God and to be your everything. And putting that kind of pressure on them, looking to them to be that, they're not designed to carry it. Yeah. They're going to crack under the pressure. So we've got to become a little bit more, they need to be needed by us, but we just have to balance it out and remember they're not God. Okay. They're just human.
Yeah. And I love what you say. They're not designed to make us happy, but they want to make us happier.
Yes. Well, men actually hold themselves accountable for our happiness. They feel accountable. Like if their wife's not happy, they want to fix it. They want to do something, but they're not really. Our happiness is internal. It's not external. He can't do anything to make you happy. But what a man brings to the table is he can make you happier. Yeah. But you already have to be happy within yourself, between you and God. You can't look to a man, make me happy, love me. You have to have that self-love and understand who you are in God, who he is in you. Yeah. And then a man is a man. And it all works together.
All works together.
Yes.
So thank you so much for watching today. Please like us down below, and it helps us when you subscribe. Also leave a comment with any questions you have. We would love to be able to answer those when we can, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when a new episode is coming out.